Saints' new coordinator, Clint Kubiak, took the Cowboys to the woodshed. Honestly, it felt like a Southern California 7-on-7 drill. They kept scoring standing up. Were they wearing the red jerseys? Don't tackle them? It was brutal. So, number one, let's give the Saints credit. They've got a new offensive coordinator, and they got speed deep, running back. They're giving Derek Carr protection. This is a Saints win, not just a Cowboy loss. They averaged 12 yards a play in the first half. And I mean guys standing up out of bounds and standing up into the end zone. The number two thing is no NFL team falls in love with itself after a big win like Dallas. And maybe it's the city. A lot of sequins, big hair. Dallas loves Dallas. That's okay. It's a healthy ego. Economy's always great. But nobody falls in love with themselves like Dallas. I mean, they've branded themselves as, and this counts all sports in America, as America's glamour team. But all that glamour to me feels like a lack of grit. If you hit them on the chin in the first round, it's over. And Nick Saban at Alabama, remember what he used to call hype, marketing, and glamour? Do you remember that? He called it rat poison. He goes, all these, you're on the cover of this magazine. That stuff is rat poison. It just brings you down. And that's what I feel about Dallas. I mean, think about this. In just recent memory, go back to week 15 last year against Buffalo. Remember that game? They trailed 31-3. Dallas trailed Buffalo 31-3. They trailed Green Bay 27-0. And yesterday they trailed 35-13. That's like what happens to Carolina. I mean, they get blown out. They are a boxer that you hit them early. They're the opposite of Kansas City. You could knock Kansas City down in the first round, second, and third, and somehow they'll get up and they'll win a decision in the 10th. Nobody fights when they don't have their best night or afternoon like Kansas City. They just fight and fight and fight and figure out a way to win a decision. Dallas folds. They got no grit. I mean, listen, in the last 7 games for Dallas, forget the fact they're 3-4. They have lost by 21, 16, and 25-2 at home. I mean, that's Carolina. I mean, that's how Carolina loses. So they are the antithesis of the Chiefs, the best operation in football right now. So, yeah, and they love to pay their stars. I always feel like even with Mahomes, you're getting a little bit of a bargain. It's a little team-friendly. Dak, top-paid guy in the league. I mean, that's what I see. Here was Dak after is it shocking blowout loss?
Last week, you guys were riding a high in Cleveland, and then to have today. Is this just the way the league goes?
Yeah, I mean, it's the NFL. I talk about each and every week. No games are played on paper. As far as riding a high, I know I wasn't personally. I don't think the guys in the locker room necessarily were. I mean, I talked about how much meat we left on the bone offensively. And that's simply why you can't listen to other people's opinions and read with you guys right, respectfully. I mean, yeah, y'all may have put this team on a high more than we should have been, and now we just simply have got to reset. We've got to respond.
Yeah, I mean, up, down. Great win, embarrassing loss. It's week 2. We've already figured them out. Dallas is Dallas again in week 2. And that game is Baltimore. Generally, if you're humiliated, I mean a lopsided score, you play really, really well the next week, unless you're like Carolina and you're just awful. But you would think Dallas would play inspired football. If I had to, I'd probably take Dallas. But there are some consistent things in this league. What's something you'd love to learn? As an adult, do you make time to learn new things as often as you'd like? When we're kids, we're curious. Kids are always learning and growing, but as adults, sometimes we lose that curiosity. How about gardening, a new language? How to finally beat your best friend at bowling? Therapy can help you reconnect with your sense of wonder because your back-to-school era can come at any age. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. Entirely on.
Lose for the first time this season. Listen, Minnesota kind of boxed them in, and despite having one of the best rosters in football, a lot of errors and sloppy against the Vikings. Brock Purdy knows the team didn't execute like they're capable of.
it's as simple as executing. We got the players, we got the scheme, it's dropping back and executing, knowing where my answers are at, and getting the balls into the guys' hands and drop stepping and getting first downs. And it's all of that. It's football, man. Just because you got really good players and good scheme doesn't mean the other team's going to give it to you. You have to go out and earn it. So we've had to learn that the first 2 games of the season. So hopefully we can be better next week.
Or maybe it was Sam Darnold. It was pretty good.
Any thoughts on Brandon Ayuk's slow start to the season? You care to chime in on that? I mean, he can't get open, can't catch the ball.
Well,
go ahead, say something. Say something mean.
I said before, the idea that he wasted, 6-7 weeks of camp, like he was going to get a better situation than the 49ers, this offense, this coach. Go play in Carolina. Go play in New England. See how much fun it is. I mean, you wasted, forget wasting the team's time. You wasted your time. I don't get it. The whole holdout thing. He had a year left in his contract. Can you imagine in any other business, if you had a year left on your contract and you're demanding this, you've earned this slow start. That's on you.
But Christian McCaffrey, this is like a real thing now. You got Ian Rappaport coming out saying it could be 6 weeks. Shanahan's like, we don't know.
I will say, in a strange way, that's a double dose of good news. One, McCaffrey will be fine. He's coming off back-to-back huge, heavy usage years. Mm-hmm. And secondly, it gives their backup plenty of reps. I've said before, this is a Super Bowl win or bust team like Kansas City. Having McCaffrey not have to play until like last week of October is not the worst thing in the world, because they become, even with all their players, they become incredibly Christian McCaffrey reliant when he's there. It's almost like he's an automatic 6 yards, so just give him the ball. Yeah. And it's nothing against Shanahan, but the truth is, this may be the way for McCaffrey's last several years in the league to play him. Just get him ready by October. Because all of Shanahan's backs end up flourishing. All of them do. His dad was the same way.
It's a weird thing with the Chiefs and Niners. It's like, they lost. They don't look good. Who cares? They're going to be in the playoffs. Yeah. All that matters is health. We should probably say something nice about Brian Flores and his defense and what they've done in Minnesota for the first 2 weeks.
Well, I think we both believed he was a really good football coach.
Yeah.
And he had a Tua issue. But if you go back to the Miami year where he was a head coach, by week 8 of his rookie year coaching, they had an identity on special teams and defense. Brian Flores is excellent. Yeah. Now, everybody's always talking about who deserves a second chance. If Todd Bowles gets a second chance, and I think Todd's very capable, Brian Flores, but Todd's more likable, and Todd's more laid back. Like everybody likes Todd Bowles. Brian Flores can be polarizing.
Yeah.
But Brian Flores can coach, period.
Certainly. To coach defense. We don't know about head coach. Yeah. Final note. You saw the schedule on the screen there?
Yeah.
Niners at SoFi this weekend against the Rams. I can't believe it only opened 7.5.
No,
First bet I made this week.
San Francisco.
Up to 8
Puka
now.
and Cooper are out. I don't know how the Rams and the Niners basically got pushed around the field and humiliated. Niners will win that game, that thing, whatever they want to win it by.
Well, just by the way, Kyler Murray looked incredible against the Rams. What do you think Purdy's going to do? And off a loss, I mean, it's a bad spot for your Rams. Well, I'm sure we'll get to the Rams eventually.
Maybe we'll find time for it.
Syrup or whatever you have got to take. Next up, Colin, I've never been out of Survivor this early before. The Baltimore Ravens choke away a fourth quarter lead. They're up by 10 with 12 minutes left and just gag. Could not get a stop.
I'll say this for the Raiders, though. That fight.
Well,
come on now.
I think this is more about the Ravens. They're now 0-2 for the first time in 9 years. The last time they went 0-2 did not make the playoffs, I believe. Baltimore, and Lamar, nobody was good on Baltimore. I'm sorry. Harbaugh, not even great. Yeah. Lamar knows they got to figure things out fast.
We got to find our mojo. We got to find and do what we do, because that's not us at all. Just got to find a way to win. Like you said, I'm not used to being 0-2. You just got to catch our momentum and get it started right away.
So we talked about the loss of McDonald, the defensive coordinator who's in Seattle. Colin, I don't know. They could not stop Brock Bowers, Devontae Adams, and Gardner Minshew.
Brock Bowers is lining up outside and beating corners.
He's a problem.
Brock Bowers is, Kyle Pitts we thought was going to be something. Brock Bowers already. They line him up outside and can beat corners.
But to Baltimore's defense, how do you let Gardner Minshew complete 83% of his pass? What? Gardner Minshew? And now they got the Justin Tucker kicker situation. Every kicker's banging 50-yarders like it's nothing. Tucker misses from 56.
For the record, what happened in this league? It's like a layup drill. Guys are hitting 54-yarders, and the ball is 3/4 up the net.
Very weird.
It's crazy.
And wait till we get to the passing numbers, the passing touchdowns through 2 weeks.